to you live from the White Picket Studios in Houston, Texas. This is the Realty Ruckus. If you are in any way, shape, or form involved in the real estate industry, this is the show for you. And now, your host, Alan Hernandez.
Good morning, Houston. It's good to be back over here, man. I missed you guys. Whole week of not being around. Supposedly went out to get some relaxation, or what is it, rest and relaxation time?
Something like that. Some R&R.
Some R&R. I mean,
relax and relaxation.
everybody says that. Everybody's like, I'm going to go get some R&R. I'm going to go on a trip and then come back all refreshed. That's never been the case for me when I go out. Like, ever since I had kids, it's actually like coming back actually means like I need a vacation from my vacation, man. It stinks. Like yesterday we got to the airport like at 5, and our plane was delayed like 3 hours, so we didn't leave the airport till like 8:30. And we get here and it's midnight before we get all our bags, because of course we fly Spirit. It's 4 of us. We got to pay 4 tickets, and the only way to do it economically is is for as many times as we fly per year is to go through what we call the Greyhound with wings. Have you guys ever ridden a Greyhound before?
No.
It's bad. I did it in college.
Greyhound's really bad.
Yeah.
Spirit is not quite that bad.
It's like one level up from Greyhound.
I would say it's one step up.
Yeah.
You're one up.
At least the people on Spirit actually shower, most of them anyway. On Greyhound, it was bad. When I did it in college a few times, man, every time I got out of there, I'd always swear I wouldn't do it again. And then of course there was always like that next semester where I'd have to like come over here, and that was the cheapest way to get here. So I'd always take a Greyhound. But yeah, I actually almost got kicked off the airplane again.
Oh,
believe
God.
it or not.
What happened this time?
Yeah, it's funny because the first time that this happened was a few years ago when Danny was about 3, maybe 4 years old. He was 3 pushing 4, and there was this sweet little old lady. I mean, sweet little old lady sitting in front of us, and she had that big old poofy white hair. That kind. And
the mama's boy hair.
Yeah. And Danny gets up on his chair. I mean, he's a little kid. He doesn't know better. And he just reaches over there and grabs a handful, and yanks as hard as he possibly can. And this sweet little old lady, she's like, she's screaming at the top of her lungs. And her husband, who is not a sweet little old man at all.
It's usually not how it works.
Yeah. He's like the grumpy one. Gets up and literally tries to fight me in the Greyhound.
Oh, this little old man does?
Sweet little old man, or unsweet little old man in this case, because he's like, hey, your son did this, and you better correct him, and this, and I'm like, look, he probably thought it was cotton candy. You can't blame him. And I offered to buy drinks or whatever, and he was like, no, you need to learn how to teach your kids this, that, and the other, and I ought to pop you one. I'm like, Grandpa, if you want to pop me one, you can. Anyways, he got the captain to come out of his like actual chair while we were sitting there waiting to take off. So he gets the captain to come out of his chair, come over there, and asks him to let him off the plane because he couldn't stand sitting next to us. And so this time it was a little bit different. This time it was like an 18-year-old sitting in front of Danny. And Danny's a really good kid now. He's really, really well behaved. He understands, but he's still a kid. You know what I mean? Like you can't get away from that. He's still a kid, and he got bored, man. It's a 2.5-hour flight, and he didn't know what else to do, so he started kicking his feet. He was doing this thing, and he accidentally kicked his feet into the chair in front of him. And this girl freaks out on us, and she's like, I just had back surgery.
Oh, God.
Which I don't believe for a bit, right? Because I'm like, you're 18 years old. How do you have back surgery at 18?
Hey, doctor says she need a backiotomy.
Seriously, like, so I just ignored her, and an hour or so later, Danny, of course, kicked again, and again freaks out, turns on the little light, and of course here comes the stewardess. She's like, oh my God, what's going on? This kid is making my back hurt, and she's just throwing this huge spit, right? And here I am like, man, this lady's just being.
You guys are up in the air already.
Yeah, we're up in the air.
Okay.
I'm just thinking this lady's being dramatic. I'm just going to ignore her, this and the other. Long story short, she gets off at the end of the airplane and she literally can barely move, and I felt so bad. And she had this like.
So she wasn't lying.
She wasn't lying, man, and my kid was kicking her the whole time. I felt so bad.
Man.
But if you ride Spirit, you gotta understand it comes with screaming babies and kicking kids.
Hey, it comes with the territory.
It just comes with the territory. If you want to ride first class and not get your back kicked, then you better ride United or one of the other airlines. Because if you ride with me,
I don't think I'm ever gonna take a.
If you ride with me, you're getting your hair yanked and you're getting your seat kicked a little bit, and you can only do so much, man. You can't just spank your kids in the middle of the airplane, and expect them to be quiet the whole time. Anyway, we have a phenomenal show coming up, guys. We're excited. I'm glad to be back. We have some really, really interesting topics to talk about. Some Class A stuff that's falling apart. The oil business is seeing some interesting numbers. And we're going to tell you how it relates to doing your due diligence today. And that's definitely something you want to stick around for. We'll see you soon.
NAREP Greater Houston is bringing the country's top realtors and lenders to one place to help you develop, retain, and grow a powerful team in real estate. July 28th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Gallery Furniture Southwest. Make sure you reserve your spot. This is going to be the place to be. Email us at houston@narep.org. That's houston@nahrep.org for more information. Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join@teamwpr.com. join@teamwpr.com.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service and an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
The Realty Ruckus is going to be broadcasting live August 9th at White Picket Realty's Happy Hour. This is an event for you guys to RSVP for and really get ready to ramp up your business. David, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
That's right, Alan. Come grab a cold one and beat the heat with Team WPR. We'll have over 200 plus real estate industry professionals attending. That's private money lenders, wholesalers, realtors, you name it. We'll be at the St. Arnold Brewery on August 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. You can RSVP at whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Again, that RSVP link is whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus. David, how's the weather look out there for everyone this week?
Well, today we are experiencing some rain, as you guys saw earlier this morning, and we are expecting more showers this afternoon, probably starting about 3, going on into the evening. As far as the rest of the week, we do have some rain on Wednesday, and we're going to get a bit of a cool down. It's going to be 88 on Wednesday, so that's going to be nice.
Oh, wow, man, that sounds great.
The best news I've heard.
80s, what?
Yes.
I know. I've gotten so used to on this show when we talk about the weather, it's just hot.
Yeah.
It's hot.
I think about that episode of Family Guy where they're like, Lonnie, how's the weather out there?
It's going to rain.
Yeah. I feel the same way. It's going to be hot.
Yep.
No joke, man. That's Houston for you, man. It's crazy because I just came back from Florida, and as soon as you get out, like into the airport, into IAH, it's like you're walking into like someone's like mouth, like just so steamy, and like it's like disgusting, like just gross. But over there you have a little bit of humidity, but it's a different type of humidity. You got a little breeze going, it's kind of a little nice and cool breeze to it. So it's like, man, I can see why people work so hard in states like Texas and then move to Florida to retire. That's why there's so many old people over there too. It's kind of cool because when you stop at a stoplight over there, there's always like 3 people over 75 years old driving Corvettes right next to you, and they're the ones doing the racing. It's awesome, man.
I'm curious. You just got back from vacation.
Yeah.
What does an adult with 2 kids do on vacation?
Do you really want to know that?
I am curious because I know like that's got to be very different from my vacations. I don't have any kids.
Man, I've seen your vacations. Your vacations rock. Mine are they're interesting. So first off, I start my vacation like a week early, right? Because I go into like vacation mode. So a week before I leave on vacation, I'm already eating everything that I can possibly get my hands on. You know, cakes and whatever
Diets
else.
Diets are
out of the window for sure. No, but we did Hollywood Studios this round.
Oh, that's cool.
We went out and checked that out, and man, I'll tell you, I'm not a fan of the Disney parks. I'm really not. We got there at 8 a.m., left at 11 p.m. All right? Yeah, we were there all day.
Wait, you were there
all day.
15 hours?
Yes. Of course, the next day it was like I went out like binge drinking because I couldn't even walk. Like my body like was just completely just frozen. I couldn't move. Everything hurt. But you do it. You go out on vacations like this and you do it for the kids. Like I watched Danny do this. They do this Jedi training thing in Hollywood Studios now.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
No, it really is. Actually, if I was just a couple years younger, I probably would have done it.
A couple of years, I would have done it.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah. They didn't let me. Trust me, I asked. They're like, you're too old.
Get out of here.
So it's cool, man. No, you sign up, and there's like these group of people dressed in full gear, full Darth Vader, full everyone, and they actually train you to fight the bad guys with a sword and
lightsaber. I believe it's called,
yeah,
Alan.
Yeah, thank you. You are the president of the Star Wars Club. So
yes.
I appreciate
sword,
that.
Yes. with like the sword that's on like fire or something.
I didn't go through Jedi training. All right, my kid did.
You didn't make the cut.
Yeah, that was cool, man. And then we went and saw Mickey and Minnie, and Eliana had a blast. Hugging them and kissing them and whatnot. You got to stand in line 1 hour to literally see Mickey and Minnie up close.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've only been to Disney World once, and I don't think I would ever go back. I wasn't impressed.
I am not a fan, man. I'm telling you. My kids love it because it's like a fairy tale land, but like we stopped at this restaurant. Like it started raining. We stopped at this restaurant and we were like, hey, can we get a table? Well, no, we're all booked, but if someone cancels, we'll let you guys in. We're like, okay, cool. Oh, but by the way, it's $50 a person. And we're looking around at the food, and it's just like, $50 a person, it should be some pretty nice stuff, And
yeah.
and we didn't see anything impressive. It was like burgers and hot dogs and stuff. And we were like, man, who does that? Like, who pays for that kind of stuff?
Was it a buffet or what?
It was a buffet, yeah, but it wasn't a good buffet. And you know that I'm a fan of the buffet.
Oh, I know. That's why I thought it was amazing you didn't go eat
I'm
there.
a fan of the buffets, but a $50 buffet in Houston is impressive. Over there it's like just a burger and fries, man. So, yeah, everything is like that in there, and you just gotta deal with it, and you gotta pay the price while you're there. So, we did that. We hung out a lot. Vanessa's family is awesome, man. I get pampered over there. That's the one thing I won't lie to you guys. I get pampered everywhere, and then I wake up and there's food made and stuff. So in that regard, I'm actually really really happy to go out on these trips because, man, it's good treatment, man. And so I come back and. In that manner, I always miss Florida because over there, Vanessa's parents own a restaurant. So, man, imagine like we get a chance to walk in and just
and I know you like to eat,
and we eat up, man.
Yeah,
we
that sounds
eat up.
amazing.
It's pretty cool. So yeah, man, that's really what we do. It's having a vacation with 2 kids. It's really not a vacation. It's really like a trip to entertain them.
Yeah.
And that's really what we end up doing the whole time. They go to sleep super late and they eat all the candy they can. And then when we get back, we got to go through an entire week of like retraining them to real life. So it's crazy because when we were getting ready to hop on the plane, Danny was like, yeah, I'm just going to sit right here. We're like, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm not going to go back to Texas. We're like, all right, you really like Florida, right? So yeah, man. It's cool. I'm glad I did it. I get a chance to go out August with a couple of my fraternity brothers. We're doing a bachelor party, and that'll be like a real vacation because it's just me.
Yeah.
It's just me. We're going out. We're going out on a cruise, and I think I'm gonna try to do the R&R thing then, because that's the other thing. I didn't stop receiving phone calls. I didn't stop receiving emails. I mean, when you're in real estate, you're on no matter what.
Yeah, you got a couple deals.
I actually wrapped up a couple deals. It was kind of cool. I had a meeting late last night. I literally landed. It was 11:30, and I had a meeting with Mark Demas, the president of NAREP, and he's like, I was telling him, I was like, hey man, I just landed, and he goes, what? What do you mean, man? I just saw you on the radio the other day. I was like, are you sure you saw me, or are you just sure you saw me post about the radio, or someone log in from one of their phones to my account? And he was like, oh man, that's cool. So it's that in that regard, it was really nice that I was somewhere else completely. And yeah, my kids were having fun, and I was enjoying time with the family, but I was still getting deals done. The radio still happened, and we got a bunch of work put together, and nothing stopped. None of the momentum stopped. So I really like that. That's always really nice to be somewhere else and know that
the wheel keeps turning.
Know that the wheel keeps turning, man. Yeah, that's really nice. It's a really nice feeling. Anyway, speaking of wheels turning, we saw that the wheel on the oil market is actually getting ready to fall off. And we want to talk to you guys about that. I know that everyone's been saying this for a long time. We have family in the oil business. We're tied together with this, and we know how it affects real estate, and we're seeing it affect real estate right now pretty substantially. So we want to tell you guys a little bit about this when we get back. Make sure you stay tuned.
NAREP Greater Houston is bringing the country's top realtors and lenders to one place to help you develop, retain, and grow a powerful team in real estate. July 28th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Gallery Furniture Southwest. Make sure you reserve your spot. This is going to be the place to be. Email us at houston@narep.org. That's houston@nahrep.org for more information. Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join@teamwpr.com. join@teamwpr.com.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217. Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, David@houseflippingnetwork.com. That's David@houseflippingnetwork.com.
The Realty Ruckus is going to be broadcasting live August 9th at White Picket Realty's Happy Hour. This is an event for you guys to RSVP for and really get ready to ramp up your business. David, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
That's right, Alan. Come grab a cold one and beat the heat with Team WPR. We'll have over 200 plus real estate industry professionals attending. That's private money lenders, wholesalers, realtors, you name it. We'll be at the St. Arnold Brewery on August 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. You can RSVP at whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Again, that RSVP link is whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus. We've been talking about Alan's vacation, but we want to jump into talking about some of these slowdowns that we see happening in the Houston market. Some of them are pretty significant.
So we're seeing some big companies take some hits right now, man.
Yeah, so right now, 3 major oil companies just announced huge layoffs. We've got Schlumberger, which Everyone I know knows Schlumberger.
Schlumberger.
They're going to be laying off a ton of employees. I'll get the numbers from Brandon in a second, but I know that they're doing a massive layoff. ConocoPhillips, which is actually based here out of Houston right now.
Oh, I saw the report.
Yeah, they're going to be doing a bunch of layoffs, and as well as Shell. Shell's going to be laying off a bunch of employees. So things are slowing down again. I know that on Schlumberger's report, they reported a quarterly loss year to date, of 2.94 billion as their losses to date. So the oil industry, $2.94 billion dollars. It's hurting right now.
It's like we timed that together. Like we practiced it.
That was perfect.
This is what happens when you grow up together with somebody.
That was not planned before the show, I promise.
That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
So they took a hit?
They're taking a big hit. They're letting off a bunch of employees. I know that everyone thought that the oil industry was back up, about to boom again because gas prices have been going up a little bit. But David actually looked it up, and oil has been steadily dropping, right?
Yes. Ever since the earliest weeks of June where it peaked, it's been steadily dropping since then. And like you mentioned, we're having these big businesses cut their jobs. No exact numbers on Schlumberger, but they have cut 16,000 total the first half of this year. And so now they're getting ready to let go of more.
Wow, and that's just this year. They've cut 16,000.
Yes.
Wow.
16,000 jobs, man.
Yeah, and
that's what's crazy.
When you think about how big of a piece of the Houston economy that is going to have a significant effect. And that's actually one thing we were talking about earlier is, and we talk about this with other people at networking events, who is really taking the brunt of that hit?
Yeah.
And we see it mostly in Class A.
Yeah.
Class A is the one that's really hurting. When you talk about multifamily.
When we talk about multifamily, it's generally Class A. When we talk about residential real estate, it's generally the stuff that's over $500,000. And that's why we have seen such a slowdown in those markets. And we experience it as realtors and as investors on our own investment properties. We see that stuff that we're listing or that we're rehabbing and putting up on the market in those higher price ranges are taking just a little bit longer than they should or than they used to. And that's the case right now. I mean, you got people that were making really, really decent incomes going from here to zero. They're down to making nothing and collecting unemployment for a little while and then trying to figure things out after that. What are those 16,000 people going to go do? Are they going to go work for a competitor company? No, because that competitor company is cutting jobs too. Yeah,
that's what's difficult is that when these big boys are laying people off, who do you have left to go to?
Yeah.
There is no competitors. They're all laying people off. Yeah. And actually, I know people. We have family in the oil industry who's gone through the layoffs, and it's hard to watch as these people who are making really good money are all of a sudden making, $30,000 a year, and they went from making 120, 130 or more.
A lot of them make a whole lot more, man. And that's the thing about the oil industry is they pay really, really well. And for the first time in many, many years, we're seeing them take such a big hit that these people that are out there don't really know what to do next.
Yeah.
It's hard for them. If you think about it, like for example, with our family and the stuff that they went through, even though they stayed in the industry, they had to change almost entire products that they were dealing with.
That's true. That's very true.
It's crazy. And then, what happens? How does that relate to us? Well, it affects us vastly, and it affects us in ways that maybe us as residential real estate investors, residential real estate agents, we don't quite see as much, but we can see that it's happening in the market, and therefore we saw what's happening with these condo towers.
Correct. Yeah, there's multiple condo towers here in Houston that have recently slowed down, or they've either completely announced that they're going to stop construction, that they're going to stop the project, or they've announced that they're going to halt the project until further notice. And I think a lot of that has to do with the uncertainty in the market. Why am I going to build a 14-foot tower or 14-story tower with 38 units in it?
Let's talk about those towers, though. Let's just go into them for a second, because I want to say that some of that came from like the tiny house, frenzy that we had a little while ago. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, tiny houses! Come on." We thought about building a tiny house.
That's true.
You know, like we liked it so much, we thought about building it. But
because they're cute.
They are cute.
But they're not practical.
They're not practical, and they're not easy to build. And I think we forget sometimes. We're in Texas. This is Texas, man. And it's funny because when you road trip over here, I've done that road trip so many times from Florida to Texas. You get to Texas and everything. You know how when people say everything is bigger in Texas, it really is true. It really is true.
They're not lying.
You get to Texas and everything is bigger, and like the only place where you see almost every other car, and not a car, almost every other vehicle being a truck is Texas.
Yep.
Like any other state, that's not the case, but it just kind of talks about the culture that we have and whatnot. And people tried the tiny house thing. These developers went into building tiny condos. I'm assuming.
So there's this one developer, and it's a Houston-based developer, but the investors are all doctors and real estate investors from New York.
Got it.
And so I can see how they would have thought, well, this is a great idea. Let's go to Houston. Let's build this tower with 550 units. Now, it's by far the biggest unit-wise that's being built.
Yeah.
All the other ones pretty much cap out at about 100, 110 units. That's the biggest. Mm-hmm. You're talking about going from that to 550 units.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, they were like, well, let's make them really tiny.
Yeah.
And by really tiny, I mean, they have like their biggest units are 1,000 square feet, and there's 3 of them. And then their average units go anywhere between 300 to 500 square feet. And I mean, we're talking about a significant decrease in the size of living space that people are used to here. I live in 900 square feet, and I feel crammed. I feel like I'm going to be busting out of the seams.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine living in 350 square feet.
That's got to be just one tiny little room, I'm assuming?
It's like a studio.
Yeah, their smallest one is 304 square feet.
Yeah, and these people try to get creative with the marketing, and they were like, well, we're going to have, those beds that are like built into the wall?
The Murphy beds.
Oh, yeah, Murphy beds. We're going to have those, and we're going to set up all sorts
I saw those
of
in
other...
Europe.
That's Europe.
And I just don't think that they realize that here in Houston, I mean, we have way too many options. And not only that, but when you look at the price per square foot that you're paying for one of these places, they start at $160,000. And that's for about 370 square feet. That's almost $600 a square foot that you're paying.
Yeah, so when you told me that, I did some research and I pulled up properties that are listed, just to kind of get an idea, comparison-wise, properties that are listed at $500 a square feet or higher. Mm-hmm. And man, if you hadn't done that recently, check it out, because I did pull up one house, and this is kind of outside of what we're talking about. $18 million in a neighborhood called Shady Side. It's been sitting on the market quite a while, but you got to check this thing out. It's phenomenal. Before you, right below that, at $1,000 a foot, you're in River Oaks, and then there's still a bunch of other River Oaks stuff right at like 500 to 600. You get into Tanglewild. You got some Piney Point stuff.
I mean, you're talking about the top neighborhoods in Houston.
Westview, you got some stuff there, $500 a foot. I mean, these are the best neighborhoods in Houston. But then this tower is over in Edo, which I get it. It's transitioning. It's getting nicer.
Yeah, and then this is even, to me, this is a little bit before Edo, just because this is the area right beside the ballpark. And I mean, we're talking about they were building these towers, or they're still building them. They've already broken ground on them, about a block and a half away from the Star of Hope, the soup kitchen that's downtown.
Yeah.
And then across the freeway from that is the homeless shelter. So it's not like they're building them in a place where you walk out of your condo and there's a grocery store right in front of you. There's a gym right there.
Yeah, you have a bunch of amenities at your disposal.
You're walking out, and you're walking out into a really rough area. And I don't see. I feel like there had to be a lack of research and a lack of due diligence.
A lack of due diligence is what I want to call
that
it.
went into a project like this, because how do you get a 550 unit approved unless you don't know Houston, and you don't realize people don't want that. People can get way better in other parts of Houston. You can go buy a pretty decent townhouse if you just go outside a little bit.
What do they cost? What is the average price?
Well, it looks like it started out at 119,000 for the smallest ones, but the
300 square foot ones.
Exactly, but they stated those were quickly snatched up by investors who basically wanted to rent them out, probably as Airbnbs.
Yep.
So right now they're going for around 200,000.
So for $200,000, what can you buy close to downtown?
I mean, we had that condo out in West Chase that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be right downtown, but the reality is, what in the heck is in downtown Houston anyways that anyone wants to live right there?
Well, and they stated that they were specifically targeting millennial buyers. And we talked about the last episode.
Yes.
Millennial buyers, or 2 episodes ago, I can't remember. Millennial buyers are moving away from the urban areas to suburban simply because they can afford so much more for their money in those areas.
They're getting more bang for their buck elsewhere. We know that because
and they just reduced the bang for the buck significantly.
Yeah, they took away the bang for the buck. And not only that, but you got to think about it. They've got the mortgage. So if, let's say they're paying $160, then you got taxes and insurance. Insurance may be included because it's a condo. And then on top of that, you've got the HOA dues.
Your dues, that's right.
So they're looking at like $1,800 a month for a 400 square foot place.
Yeah. Why would they buy?
It just doesn't make
It doesn't
any
make sense to buy.
Yeah.
Not if you're a millennial.
Alexander Cedillo says, why not just buy a van and move down by the river? It's about the same square footage, right?
It is. It really is.
Yeah, it's amazing to me
You have
that,
to pay $200,000 for it.
that anyone would have thought that was a good idea in Houston. I mean, did they just not survey the rest of the landscape? Did they say, we've been so successful with these in New York, Houston has a huge population, we're going to be successful there too?
I don't think they researched enough who their buyer was, what the market required. You know, the fact is the millennial is going to choose to rent over buying that anyway. You know, it's
Yes.
going to be easier for them. They can get something much nicer in a nicer place for the same amount that they're going to pay for this for owning it. They can go somewhere else that's nicer, get the same amenities, get the same everything, rent, not have the commitment of owning, and then buy when they're ready. Because now we know with all of our research that millennials aren't going to go out and buy anything until they're in their 30s anyway. You know, they're not going to be able to go in there real quick. Now, who would buy something that small? Probably someone younger, someone that doesn't really understand the market and what they can get elsewhere.
Well, I would say that your buyer primarily is going to have to be either single or just a couple with no kids who don't want a yard and who want to overpay.
Well, and so far they said the majority of their buyers, the grand majority of their buyers have been investors.
Yeah.
And those investors are savvy enough to realize that millennials who are living in urban areas are renting rather than buying.
They had 550 units, and they expected to be sold out before they even broke ground.
Mm-hmm.
They've only sold 68 units.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about a little over 10% of their units when they expected to have 100% sellout by the time they broke ground.
Oh, so this is funny. So you know, it's kind of we talked about like how every time investors nowadays run into a scenario, they turn into Airbnbs. You know,
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about Airbnbs.
They turn into they find a scenario they can't sell. We've looked into that ourselves. And I'm doing one right now on purpose because I'm experimenting with that and really want to see what I can do with it. And then I looked and I saw this report. They're thinking about turning the entire place into an Airbnb.
Yeah, they're thinking about making it like one massive 550 unit. They call it Condotel.
Condotel, yeah.
It's a hotel condo mixed together.
Yeah.
And but I know somebody who's actually been going to those board meetings for that, and they said that that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That it's just not enough profit to be made doing that.
There's a lot of management that goes to that. I actually stayed in one of those condotel things over in Miami one time.
Yeah.
And it was kind of nice. I won't lie. It was pretty awesome, but it was only like 10 or 15 units. Imagine managing 550 of those.
I can't imagine.
So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit more about this, and we're going to talk about the due diligence that they missed and what due diligence you as investors, as realtors, as lenders, as people that are in the industry should be doing to not only help yourself but help your clients. We'll talk about that when we get back. NAREP Greater Houston is bringing the country's top realtors and lenders to one place to help you develop, retain, and grow a powerful team in real estate. July 28th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Gallery Furniture Southwest. Make sure you reserve your spot. This is going to be the place to be. Email us at houston@narep.org. That's houston@nahrep.org. for more information. Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join at teamwpr.com. JOIN at teamwpr.com.
Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, David at houseflippingnetwork.com. That's David at houseflippingnetwork.com.
The Realty Ruckus is going to be broadcasting live August 9th at White Picket Realty's Happy Hour. This is an event for you guys to RSVP for and really get ready to ramp up your business. David, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
That's right, Alan. Come grab a cold one and beat the heat with Team WPR. We'll have over 200 plus real estate industry professionals attending. That's private money lenders, wholesalers, realtors, you name it. We'll be at the St. Arnold Brewery on August 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. You can RSVP at whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Again, that RSVP link is whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com.
And we are back on the Ruckus. We're talking about this failed condo development in the east side, 550 units that are now being considered to be turned into a condotel. So basically a 550 unit hotel / condo concept.
How is that going to work though? Don't they have to pay taxes on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, as soon as they turn it into a condotel, they'll have to pay all of the hotel taxes. I mean, basically what we talked about that the other day, but it comes out to about 17% of everything they make will be going directly to the city and the state.
Yeah.
And to make things
there goes their profit.
Yeah. I mean, and they'll be literally one of the largest hotels in all of Houston at 550 units. Yep. So I just don't see that happening. I don't see how you can make that profitable. They're going to have to find a way to sell those things.
It's so many of them too that they're going to be competing on price unless there's just one management company that gets the price right. But if it's private owners setting the price, then they're going to be.
Oh no, I think that they're considering just not selling them, just canceling the sale and converting the entire place into a condotel.
So they're going to own them all.
Yeah, they'd own them all and they'd be renting them all. I would not want to deal with the management of 550 apartment condo hotel units.
You know, we did it. You know, when we had that one over in Kemah, we did it, and we know there's a lot to do there.
Yeah,
because it's not just a regular little place that people stay. You got to actually put in a little bit of extra work there, and people have expectations when they're renting an Airbnb product. It's not like a hotel. It's actually a little bit nicer. And if you don't do the things right, you get bad reviews and people don't want to stay at your place anymore. So yeah, I think that alone would be a nightmare. We'll see what happens. I'm interested in figuring that out, but I think overall the lesson there is not doing your due diligence properly. And I'm sure that these guys, you know, they thought that because they did it in New York and it worked there, that it could work here, but that's a whole different market. It's a whole different animal.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you completely.
You know, and understanding your market and understanding who your buyer is key when you're getting into any type of real estate investment. Now, that doesn't matter if it's Class A or Class Z, you know, it's whatever it is you're getting into. You have to understand who you're going to market it to, what your exit strategy is, who you're going to market it to, and how. And you really have to know what you're going to do from the beginning, because like how they're changing it right now, how now they've decided to go into Airbnb spells disaster for me, you know?
Yeah.
And that happens with real estate investors all the time. I see clients of mine who say, hey, I'm going to buy this house and I'm going to rent it. Right. And so what do? They do repairs based on renting the property. So it's kind of a patch job. They just, paint here and there, fix this and that. And then at the end of the project, they're like, no, I'm going to sell it. And guess what happens?
It won't sell.
It doesn't sell. Yeah. And then here they are. They're thinking, oh, the market is horrible. The market's not horrible. Your product is horrible. Yeah. You didn't do your due diligence properly. You didn't go out and figure out what people wanted. You put lipstick on a pig and decided to sell it at top market, and that's why people don't want it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it takes someone who doesn't really. It takes someone who can be a little bit of a jerk sometimes and just tell them the truth, because everyone else sugarcoats everything, and that's why I tell them. I mean, I have like a 50% ratio of likability. Like some of these people that I deal with, some of them love me, some of them completely hate me, because I tell them exactly what's wrong, and then they're like, oh, you're not a nice guy. It's not that, In fact, I met with a seller last week. He had a lot over in the Heights, asking $900,000 for it, and
jeez, man, was there unicorns on the lot?
He thought there were unicorns on it, and I did the math. I do the numbers, and I say, and he's like, well, what do you think we should be asking for it? I'm like, well, realistically, here's why you haven't sold it in a year. This is the price you should be selling it for. And I show him the number, and it's $600,000. And I was like, and that would be like your top end number. That would be if you got lucky and someone, you pulled the wool on someone's eyes number. And so, I told them the same thing. I was like, look, there's a 50-50 shot. You're going to love me or hate me. And they're at the end of the day, I was like, where am I at right now? They go, we hate you. So, that's the thing about real estate. You have to know these kind of things up front. And when you're not advised properly, or you don't seek out the right answers from professionals, and you have to be able to do some of this stuff on your own. And you should know how to do most of this stuff on your own if you're in real estate.
Well, and that, what you said earlier about, you have to know what you're going to do from the beginning, I think it's so important. And this condo development, one thing that they haven't even brought up is those investors who were brought in, they had to have some type of term on their money. My guess is going to be about a 2 to 3 year term, maybe a maximum of 5 years, for them to have built the whole thing, sold all the units, and liquidated and paid everyone back.
Those Class A investors are different, man. They're willing to sink their money in there for a little while longer. And there's, the way that those contracts work, there's contingencies and stipulations for all sorts of crazy scenarios. So the investors are actually the ones that are taking the biggest hit here, because their money is tied up for, who knows how long. It could be forever for all they know. Yeah. And tough. So, it's tough luck. It's either let it sit there and hopefully it'll turn into something, or they flat out just abandon the project and lose it, which they're not going to do. They're already too invested into it. Yeah. So, and it who knows how long it'll take? Who knows when we will get to a point where the market in Houston will like 300 square foot units. I don't see it happening here. Not with all the land that we have, not with all the awesome suburbs that are available that are super cheap. I mean, you can buy a really nice home for $200,000 in the suburbs. Yeah. I mean, really nice, I went out and saw some stuff. Well, my buddy Tom from Perry Homes over in Pearland, man, he's got $300,000 stuff that will knock your socks off. I mean,
I believe it. I mean,
5-6 bedrooms, the whole bells and whistles. I mean, it's just incredible what you can buy for that kind of money. So I don't see why someone would pay, $200 for 300 square feet. But then again, you never know. I may be eating my words here in the next 10 years.
Hey, there was apparently 68 people in Houston.
Somebody thought it was smart. 68 people would call me up and tell me I'm stupid. So you never know. Now, what are the things that we should be doing as investors and for you realtors? By the way, can I squeeze this in for a second? I know you guys are going to kill me because you guys are my producers. I need to squeeze this in. I'm going to be giving away 5 tickets today to realtors and loan officers to NAREP's team building event. All right. That's the plug. That's all I need to say.
Nice. Well, okay. So how are we giving them away? Or
that's going to be up to you. I'll let you figure that out. I'm just plugging it in. I know you guys are watching. I'm giving away 5 tickets. I purchased them. I'm giving them away to the people that are watching this show. And you're gonna have to do something fun here in a minute. But for now,
put something in the comments.
Let's stick around for now. We'll give you guys the details on how you can win those here shortly.
That's realtors and loan officers only.
Realtors, loan officers who want to learn about team building. I'm giving away 5 tickets. You have to email david@whitepicketrealty.com. And I'll tell you what, let's just do it now. First 5 people who can email David their contact information, david@whitepicketrealty.com. First 5 people get a free ticket. That's a $40 ticket, by the way, and it's paid for. It's on me. You guys are welcome to come out and hang out and talk about, learn from literally the country's best how to build your team. And of course, yours truly will be there. So please come by and say hi. I am working on helping set up the event, and all of the White Picket team will be there as well. So we hope we get a chance to see all of you guys. Now, that's it. Rant's done on that. I want to talk about due diligence, what happens, and how you should properly be advising your clients. First off, let's say you're getting into a investment property. Wouldn't you say that step 1 would be to figure out exactly what you're doing with it? Oh, absolutely. I don't think you can't go in blindly and then hope to make a switch halfway into the game. I don't see how that, and we're talking about people don't do that on small investments. Yeah. Yet people think that's appropriate for a multi-million-dollar investment. Exactly. That blows my mind. So if I'm getting into an investment project and I'm looking at it and I know that it has potential, the first thing I want to do is determine what my exit strategy is going to be. And then I need to determine if that exit strategy is feasible, right? So how do I determine if my exit strategy is going to work? What are some of the things that I have to do to be able to know if that's gonna work out or not? Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you have to know your market. Well, and here's the thing. How do you know your market? What if you're getting into a neighborhood that you've never flipped in or you've never rented in before? What are some of the things that you need to do? And that's the things that those are the things that people are missing sometimes. So perfect example, I'll tell you guys about something that we like to do in new neighborhoods that we have never flipped or never rented in before. We like to just go visit the actives, and people don't do that nowadays. Yeah, people are too lazy to go out there and drive, and you don't have to look at all of them, but look at the ones that are most interesting. If you see stuff that's pending and the realtor will let you look at it while it's pending, those are the best ones to look at, because those are the ones that sold, right? That are selling, right? Yeah. I like to look at stuff that maybe has been sitting on the market a little while and see why it hasn't been selling. And then I like to look at the stuff that's just listed. And I like to go out there and walk those properties myself. And that gives me the idea, that gives me the knowledge to know what I'm going to do to my property, right? What kind of finishes I have to have, and how I'm going to be able, if I'm going to be able to compete with those. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to be listing a property and all of the neighborhood has hardwood floors and mine has tile, I'm already going to get an objection from the buyer. Yeah. And you should know by walking those active properties that the market, that specific market, demands that you put hardwood floors in it. So that's step 1, just a basic knowledge on doing your own due diligence. And you as a realtor, as a loan officer, you should advise your clients to do that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that they should be doing so that they don't get into trouble. We have a couple more tips and tricks on due diligence when we get back.
NAREP Greater Houston is bringing the country's top realtors and lenders to one place to help you develop, retain, and grow a powerful team in real estate. July 28th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Gallery Furniture Southwest. Make sure you reserve your spot. This is going to be the place to be. Email us at houston@narep.org. That's houston@nahrep.org for more information. Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join@teamwpr.com, join@teamwpr.com.
Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, David@houseflippingnetwork.com. That's David@houseflippingnetwork.com.
The Realty Ruckus is going to be broadcasting live August 9th at White Picket Realty's Happy Hour. This is an event for you guys to RSVP for and really get ready to ramp up your business. David, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
That's right, Alan. Come grab a cold one and beat the heat with Team WPR. We'll have over 200 plus real estate industry professionals attending. That's private money lenders, wholesalers, realtors, you name it. We'll be at the St. Arnold Brewery on August 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. You can RSVP at whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com. Again, that RSVP link is whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus, and we're talking about ways that you can do your proper due diligence to make sure that you don't get burned on an investment deal.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about making sure that you're walking the neighborhood. And not walking the streets. I'm talking about walking your competition, your active properties. That's one of the best little tips and tricks that I think people try to avoid because it's time consuming. But if you're getting into a new area, you should definitely understand what's happening in the area. What are people doing? What kind of repairs need to be done? What are some of the other things that you think that you and I that do that most people don't do when we're buying an investment property? And you know, there's things that you should be doing regardless. Obviously, pulling comps, you know, making sure that you
and I think anyone who's not doing that is then you really don't know what you're doing.
Well,
I mean, you're being left behind.
And comps are a tricky thing, man. Comps are a tricky thing. I get investment property emails all the time where it'll be from even a realtor sometimes or a wholesaler, and there'll be one other comp in the neighborhood, one other property that's sold at the price that they're saying you can sell for. And is that enough for you to be able to say, well, I can do the same thing? Or do you ignore the unicorn? Because sometimes there's just that one unicorn that sells.
No, I tend to ignore the unicorn.
I do too.
I don't like to put too much weight on it. You don't want to have to be the unicorn. I mean that, and so if you're trying to price compared to that one property, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yep.
There can only be one unicorn, you know.
That's right. And you don't want to be the guy next in line. Now, I am happy to be the guy like third or fourth in line. If two or three other people have decided, hey, I'm going to try to be the unicorn, and they actually get it for some reason, fine, I get it. The other way to actually know and offset that is looking at your actives versus your pendings. And that's always a great way to gauge what's happening in the market in terms of demand and supply. Not enough realtors know about that. Not enough investors know about that. In fact, they almost always just shoot straight to what's been sold and days on market. But that's not the only factor that shows you if a market is healthy or not.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's market saturation, and we've had people send us packets looking for funding on deals. I know that there was one over in the medical center who wanted to do a 6 townhome development, thinking that they were going to get $650,000 per townhome. And when I pulled the comps, there was proof that yes, townhomes in that size could sell for $650,000. Mm-hmm. There was plenty of comps. There's probably over 10 comps. Problem was, there's like 120 active properties over there, and 4 or 5 of them pending only.
Yes.
And all of them that were being constructed were identical to what he wanted to construct, mm-hmm. and they were going to be selling for $550,000.
Yeah. Eventually.
So, yeah. Well, no, they'd already been reduced to that price, but he was still pricing based off of the comps and not based off of what was happening actively in that market.
So what you're saying is you can have something valued at one number, but not really be able to sell at that number.
Oh, absolutely.
And that has to do with the fact that there's too much supply in that market.
Yeah.
Right? So in order for the sellers to sell, they have to continuously outprice each other till somebody buys it.
Yeah, and I think that's why there's a lot of people who've always asked me, what's the difference between market value and appraisal value?
Yeah.
And it literally is appraisal value is what they can prove based off of the numbers. Market value is what they think you can actually sell it for.
That's true.
Which is why in a hot market, the county gives you a market value higher than your appraisal value.
You know what? I got a good example of that. And I know that my clients are probably listening, so I hope they don't mind me sharing. I actually just listed a property right here in my backyard in Sharpstown. The property is as is. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, there's been no updates done to this house. The only thing that they've done is give it really nice curb appeal. right? Nicer than most. It's a nice ranch style house. It's got a nice pool, but the pool even needs work, So it's not like it's a phenomenal house by any means. It just looks nice from the front. Now, I just sold one, completely remodeled from guts out for $265. This one I listed on the market for $245, and I already have 4 offers. It's been on the market like 4 or 5 days.
And it's as is.
As is, and all of the offers are literally within a couple grand of list price. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is you start looking at demand versus supply. Well, there's not enough properties out there in this neighborhood that are in that price range that people can buy. And yeah, okay, fine. This one's not fully updated like the other one that I have is, for only 15 grand more.
Yeah.
And look at what's happening here, and it's a matter of now I'm seeing how high of a demand there is. Therefore, we look at what's happening with these people. Of course, these my clients are ecstatic because market value on that property was maybe at tops $220.
Wow.
And we're gonna get them in the close to $250 range. So it's insane, man. They've already invited me to several stakes.
Yeah, and that's why part of due diligence, I think, is so important to look at those market trends and understand what is your neighborhood doing.
Yeah.
And obviously you have to look at what is the economy doing as well.
Sure.
Am I building a product that is viable in this economy that people can afford? So if interest rates rose to 8 or 9%, well, good luck trying to sell really expensive property. People's loan amounts start ticking down real quickly with each little rise in that percentage point. You got to look at all those factors, and you have to take everything into consideration.
Yeah, we do know for sure that the market in the 200s price range is very, very strong. I mean, every analysis that we've done tells us that price range right now is probably the fastest moving that there is in Houston. Maybe even in the entire country, but we know for sure in Houston, I mean, if you list something in the 200s range and it looks decent and people can move into it, it's going to sell.
Yep.
As long as
Definitely.
it'll appraise, it's going to sell.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the problem, though, is the appraisal.
Well, and you're right. Because now we've had 2 in the last month that because of the appraisal aren't closing.
Yeah.
And those have to do with FHA guidelines and how strict they are with investors. That's an entire topic that we can talk about on the show because it is, kicking our butts when we list something, we know what it's worth, and then the appraiser says, no, it's not worth that much. Here's my value on it.
Yeah.
And FHA says, you got to either sell it at this price or the buyers can get out and get their money back. And that stinks. And that's one of the reasons why, seriously, right now, I'm not taking FHA offers on any of my personal properties.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have some really, really interesting events happening this week. We will continue our topic of due diligence more in some of the future episodes because I know we have a whole lot more to talk about. But we do have to talk about some of the events that are happening this week. By the way, don't forget that we are giving away 5 tickets.
Three are gone already.
3 are gone. Okay.
Yeah.
We're giving away 5. Okay. We're giving away 2 more
Yes.
tickets to agents or loan officers that are watching our show today. All right, and these are tickets that I've already paid for. They're $40 minimum, $40 to $75 a ticket, depending on whether you're a member or not. I've already paid for them. These are on me. I want you guys, as my listeners, to come out and hang out with us. I want you guys to get to know the team. So all you have to do is email David, David at White Picket Realty. You have to email him your contact information, and he will get you set up here in the next few hours with a free ticket on me. So speaking of the event, that's this Thursday.
Yes, this Thursday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And that's at the Gallery Furniture at 7227 West Grand Parkway in South Richmond.
Got it. And guys, this is something that everyone in real estate should be taking part in. And it's for NAREP, which is National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. You do not have to be Hispanic to attend this event. Let me just clear that up. Everyone and their mama is going to be there because this is something that has to do with you building your business. And when we talk to some of the top producing agents in Houston, as a broker, I always want to dive into some of their businesses, and I ask them, what is the one thing you would change? The answer is always, well, I would have started my team sooner.
Yeah.
I would have hired sooner. I would have gotten help sooner. Usually, it takes people 10 or 15 years before they figure out they need help. They try to wear all the hats on their own. They try to do everything on their own. And then one day the light bulb clicks and they're like, oh, I should get some help. You know? So that's what this event is all about.
They go to a psychiatrist.
First, they need to go to the NAREP event. All right, make sure you guys let us know. I'm getting the next 2 tickets. That's what we have available.
Yeah, 2 tickets available.
So make sure you guys email David, and we'll see you guys there at the event. Do we have any other events coming up this week?
Yeah, we want to give a shout out to our friends at Capital Concepts who they're having their events at LaGrange tonight. That's from 5:30 to 8:30. That's a great event, and I believe a few of us will be out there.
Wait, is that tonight?
Yeah, it's tonight.
Oh man,
yeah,
I thought it was on Wednesdays.
It's typically Wednesdays, but they're switching it up to Tuesday.
This is what happens when we change our event date, because everybody's like, "Oh, I thought this event was on a Tuesday," and I always have programmed.
I saw the confusion too, because yesterday he said, "Hey, are you going to Capital Concepts tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, I'm going on Wednesday. I don't know where you're going tomorrow."
Yeah.
And then he showed me the email, and I was like, "Wait, no, it is on Tuesday."
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they switched it up.
Yeah, so don't miss out, guys. I know a lot of you believe it's on Wednesday, like it usually is.
It's on Tuesday.
It's tonight.
It's today.
Be there.
And,
LaGrange.
and you get a chance to do some speed networking.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Is that how it
Yeah.
works?
Yeah, it's just a really good event to go networking. You get to meet a lot of people. A lot of the big players in the industry, they show up there. So
Not to mention
Why-
the drinks are great at LaGrange.
Why would realtors want to go to that event?
to get to know, I mean, anything in the industry you don't already know about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For a realtor who maybe who hasn't dived into the investment side yet, there's a whole nother area of real estate to be explored. So come out and explore it with us.
I told a realtor the other day, because she was like, well, I have a client who wants to buy a house, but it needs a lot of work, and they don't qualify, and they don't want to go with that really difficult, what is it, like 203 something
yeah.
B loan. And I said, well, why don't you just have them buy it with hard money, and then they can refinance in about 3 months later.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, it's hard money.
Blown away.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of realtors could benefit from understanding some of the
realtors
investment world.
Actually don't understand any of it. And unfortunately, they go through their careers thinking that they do. And when we surveyed everyone at our Realtors Retire Rich event, we found out that most realtors literally close out their career with 2 investment properties under their belt. And it's literally the ones they've lived in that they decided to lease out. So don't be that guy. Come out, learn, talk to other investors, get involved in the industry. Make sure that you talk to us, and we can also point you in the right direction. We have some. Are we getting close to the end here?
That's it.
Am I getting the cue from you?
This is the end.
This is the
Well,
end.
real quick before we end, August 9th, White Picket Happy Hour, St.
Yes.
Arnold Brewery, 6 to 9 p.m.
August 9th, make sure you guys RSVP. We're going to be live broadcasting from there.
Correct.
And it's going to be a phenomenal event. We want to see all of you guys there. All of you guys that are watching the show, make sure you come out. Drinks, food on us.
Yep.
Good vendors to help you build your business. Good topics of conversation to help you talk and network. So make sure you RSVP. And where do you go for that?
It's going to be whitepickethappyhour.eventbrite.com.
Very good. That concludes our show for today. I can't believe how fast it went. I'm glad to be back, guys.
Welcome back.
It feels good.
To have you back.
It feels good to be back. We're going to be with you guys again on Friday. Of course, we'll have our resident attorney, Ashley Patton, answering all of your legal questions. So make sure you guys write those down and send them to us so we can knock those out while he's here. And until then, guys, have a good week. Go out there, do some deals.
We'll see y'all on Friday.
All righty. Have a good one.
This has been the Realty Ruckus. Make sure and join us every Tuesday and Friday for new episodes. Find us on YouTube and Facebook for replays of previous episodes. And as always, keep elevating yourself and keep up your ruckus. Thanks for listening. Realty Ruckus has been brought to you by Smart Pig Media Productions.